We're back. Thank you for tuning into the Shonee Jackson Show. Football is back. The NFL is back. College football is back. Everything is back. Today's going to be an excellent program. I'm glad you're watching. Please share it with your friends. Let's get this channel growing. Let's get those YouTube numbers up. Doing great on TikTok and other things, but let's get these YouTube numbers up. Send it to your friends. Help me out a little bit. I love you guys. Let's have a fun show today. Today, of course, we're going to start off at the top of the Dallas Cowboys and review their dominant performance against the Cleveland Browns. Going to do a week one review, some of the biggest games. Going to talk about the rookie quarterbacks, some of the top performers, some of the post-game remarks made by players around the leagues that are making their headway, and review Eagles-Packers from Friday night, talk about the Chiefs a little bit, and then end the show on a week two preview. So got a great program today. My voice is a little hoarse over the weekend screaming at the television, so bear with me. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's start at the top with the richest man in NFL history, Dak Prescott. He's got more money than to ever cry sad tears again. Sorry, fumbling my words. Dak Prescott has more money to ever cry sad tears again. He gets the richest contract in the history of the NFL, $80 million signing bonus. Very tasty deal. Good for him. Let's go win Super Bowls. As he said, I've said all along, I've had all my commentary on it, on his contract situation, on his past first playoff qualifiers, on his past as a Dallas Cowboy. The good, the great, the bad, the ugly. We've talked about all of it, but I've said all along, if and when he signs with the Dallas Cowboys, that's my guy, that's our guy, and we move forward on to the pursuit of Lombardi number 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth, right? And I think Dak Prescott's absolutely the guy to do it. He's got to be the guy to do it, right? There's no other way to look at it. And I think he's excellent. I think he played very well. There's room for improvement, of course, in the accuracy department. He missed some throws that ended some drives. A few of them almost led to turnovers. That's not good. Got to clean that up. But other than that, incredibly efficient. I think he's so good at the line of scrimmage. He might be the best in the NFL pre-snap at the line of scrimmage, man. You know, I was watching a lot of football this weekend, and ever since the football season started in college, even high school football, and up to week one of the NFL, and the one thing I noticed is there is very, very few at all levels that I watch right now. There's very few quarterbacks playing the quarterback position. And by that, I mean having total control over the offense, pre-snap to post-snap, going through your progressions, really truly playing the position, getting the ball to the right guy. Oftentimes I'm watching offense where the offensive coordinator and the play caller is playing the quarterback position through the headset, not the quarterback. You watch Jalen Hurts, who I talk about all the time, read one side of the field. Very easy flood concepts. Go from one guy to the next guy to the next, or take off and run. You don't have to go through your progressions. You don't have to leave one side to the other side. You don't really push the ball down the middle of the field. There's not a lot of guys throwing it over the middle of the field, pushing it over the middle of the field, down the field. Just in general, I think that if there's any QB gurus out there, there's plenty of them on YouTube, plenty of them on the socials, they would probably agree that there's just not a lot of guys doing a whole lot at the quarterback position right now. And it's more so the offensive coordinators, the play callers, manipulating the rule book and the handicapping of the defense with their play calling, with RPOs and other things, other concepts that make it easy for the quarterback to get the ball out to guys in crossing routes and pick routes. And like I said, RPOs and stuff. Get players out in space. The screen game is very important today. There's a higher percentage of screens, I think, than there's ever been before. It's a lot of stuff like that and not a lot of guys playing the position. Well, Dak Prescott plays the position. He plays it very well. Seems like we're always in the right play. You know that he has total control of the offense. Mike McCarthy and him are totally dialed together now. You can see why Mike McCarthy wanted Dak Prescott to get re-signed, wants him to be his quarterback moving forward. Why would you want to restart right now with somebody else when you got such a good thing going? Dak was 19 of 32. His completion percentage was down, and yet his efficiency was up. He finished with an 85.3 rating, a 30.9 QBR. That's not necessarily glowing. But what he did do is he executed the offense. He kept Myles Garrett out of the game. He got the ball out quickly on a consistent basis. And at no point in the game did he press when it would be easy to do so on the day you announce this mega rich deal, being the richest player in NFL history. You could easily get into a mindset of wanting to press when you start to throw a few incompletions. Miss CeeDee Lamb a few times on some third down opportunities. Miss Brandon Cooks on a third down on an out route. Miss some throws. You can maybe start to try to do more than you need to try to make some splash plays and prove that you deserve the contract that you got. No, we played in the lead the entire game, start to finish pretty much. I think Cleveland got out to a field goal lead to start the game, and then from there on, it was complete dominance by the Dallas Cowboys. He made sure he didn't give the ball away. He did everything that he needed to do. He was inconsistent with his accuracy, but very efficient in the offense. And like he said, now it's time to focus on winning games, winning Super Bowls. He desperately wants to get that sixth Lombardi back to the Dallas Cowboys. He grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan. I think Dak Prescott really understands the pressure. I think he did a good job explaining in his pregame interview his perspective and where he was at this offseason in the contract negotiations. I think it's very obvious he never wanted to play for anybody else but the Dallas Cowboys. He said so himself. You can hear in his tonality and his vernacular, the way he talks, the way he delivers everything that he says. There was negotiation tactics used on both sides throughout the process of this negotiation. You use the media, both sides try to manipulate the media to get where they needed to be. You heard Dak Prescott talk about being open to changing teams, hitting the open market, understanding he could probably get more money on the open market, whether it be from Vegas, whether it be from New York, or another team in the league that maybe would move some money around to push for a Dak Prescott that feels that they're a veteran quarterback away from being there. Could give him 65 to 70 million a year. We got him at 60, right? It's like the last time that he negotiated, he could have got 45, we got him at 40. So there's give and take on both sides, and it needs to be understood and acknowledged on both sides, no matter which side of the spectrum you're on, right? And at the same time, he's locked down for 5 years. So if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you lock in and you look at the upside of this. I looked at a lot of bad quarterback play around the league this week. Dak Prescott did not play bad. All right, his QBR isn't where it's traditionally at, and yet I think he was second in the league, tied for second in the league in QBR or his quarterback rating. I don't know. I don't remember which one it was, but I think he was tied for second in the league with that. Let me look that up while I talk. NFL Week 1 QBR rankings. See where Dak fell. He was actually 24th at 30.9. Jalen Hurts at 20th, 38.8. Josh Allen led the league at 89.9. Anthony Richardson was 87.5. Baker Mayfield had an excellent game against the Commies at 85.9. Derek Carr did great against the Panthers, who looked terrible. Anyhow, his QBR was down, but I was happy with Dak Prescott. We played the number one defense in the league a year ago, a team that gave up 13.9 points a game at home last year. We got 33. Obviously, we had some turnovers. We had a punt return touchdown, but Dak Prescott did a great job of just running the offense, taking what was given to him, taking the profit. You can't go broke taking a profit. And if Dak Prescott plays that way all year this year, I think the accuracy, the timing with CD and other things will improve. This defense is finally complete. It is finally complete. We addressed the interior of the defensive line. We addressed the linebacker position. It turns out all that offseason hoopla about the Cowboys not paying anybody, about organizational incompetence, that was totally stupid and an overreaction, like I told you guys over and over again this season. All right, I said it all offseason. We're overreacting. The deals always get done. If and when they get done really does not matter as much as we're acting like they matter. We just came out and we dominated a playoff team on the road in a game where we were not favored. Let's stop doing the things where Dallas goes into a game as an underdog, dominates a team, and then you just totally shit on the team that they dominated. I think Deshaun Watson sucks. I said on my show last week that he sucks. But you know what? The defense made him suck a lot worse than anybody's acknowledging. We hit him all game long. We got after Deshaun Watson. I think we only sacked him twice. We had to hit him 9-10 times in the game. Micah Parsons had like 9 pressures. DeMarcus Lawrence was getting pressured. Marcus Nealand was getting pressured all game long. We're getting pressure in the interior. Jordan Rodgers absolutely mollywopped him on one play up the middle. DeMarvion Overshone was a total missile. We're going to talk about him and the other rookies. The secondary was elite, glued onto the receivers. We had Amari Cooper in a seatbelt all game long. Shout out Kalen Carson. Shout out Trayvon Diggs being back. The secondary is very good. The safety play was great. Two defense of Deshaun Watson. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that would have played good against that Cowboys defense on Sunday, and you're going to see that as the season goes on, right? It's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that have bad games against this Cowboy defense. So, some other takeaways. Mike McCarthy versus the clock. Mike McCarthy had a great game as a play caller. He's dialed just like he was at the end of last season. He's locked in with this team. He's locked in with Dak Prescott. This offense could have done a lot more. Like I said, Dak missed about 5, 6 to 7 throws. His accuracy was not good enough. And that's just the truth. Has to be better. Reminds you of some of those games. I've talked about it a lot. He's 17-32 or whatever it is against playoff qualifiers. I've talked about it on 3 or 4 of my podcasts. A lot of those games we lose against the Niners, against some of those top defenses where the defense did perform well enough to win. Dak Prescott's accuracy, not converting third downs, not making those throws in the tight windows and tight man coverage when pressure's being brought. That was an issue yesterday. We can't have it be an issue when we play the Niners here in a few weeks. All right. If so, it's going to be the same story, different year, and it's going to feel like we kicked the can down the road. That's a reality that we have to face. That's a reality and a pressure that Dak Prescott needs to be aware of. All right. He has to get over that hump. He has to be good enough if we play an elite defense like Cleveland and they have elite quarterback play on the other side that can match him. They're not turning it over. They're not making mistakes. He's got to be more accurate than that. But other than that, I think it was all right. Mike McCarthy versus the clock, that delay game at the end of the half where we were going for the 66-yard field goal and Brandon Aubrey drilled it. A delay game, that's unacceptable. He yelled at the refs about not pumping up the play clock. Whatever he was yelling at him for, I don't know whether he's right or wrong. The delay game is still unacceptable. You have 3 timeouts and this happens too often. Why are there not coaches in the booth or wherever on the sidelines, players screaming at Mike McCarthy to get a timeout called? I don't understand it. And listen, that field goal would have been good from 71. I don't know why he didn't try it. At that point in the game, we were so dominant defensively, the Browns were never going to come back and get in that game. They were never going to win that game. And if anything, tell Brandon Aubrey, look, we're going to kick this 71-yarder. If you miss it long. Because the first 66-yard attempt would have been good from 70 or 71, for sure. I understand you don't want Denzel Ward getting a return there. But, I think he had the leg to assure he didn't return that. And to be honest with you, I think he would have drilled it. Speaking of Denzel Ward, though, that secondary going back to Dak Prescott, really good. And you got to understand that. You got the reigning defensive player of the year, a massive and dominant defensive line that the Cleveland Browns have. They are good front to back defensively. Very good. Their secondary is stacked top to bottom. They got 2 good corners. They got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They got good safety play. They got good linebacker play. They play fast. They play physical. They're well coached. Their scheme is good. And Dak Prescott at no point in that game could start to press and throw this game away because that defense could keep Cleveland and will keep Cleveland in a lot of games in spite of bad quarterback play, right? So at the end of the day, I think we did enough. But Mike McCarthy versus the clock, Dak Prescott versus the clock, we had multiple delay games on offense as well. Let's stop having fucking delay games. We can't have those in critical situations throughout the year. We can't kill drives with pre-snap penalties. We cannot afford to do that consistently. And I think it's a common thing when the head coach calls the plays to struggle with keeping up with the play clock and game management things. At times you see it across the league. You see it in college football. Hell, Sark deals with that a little bit. But there's got to be somebody in McCarthy's ear or by his side at all times to prevent that from happening in critical situations like at the end of the half when you're about to kick a field goal. But at the end of the day, we are deep in all 3 phases. We're deep on offense. We're great on offense. I don't care. People still complain about our weapons. And look, we do need another third weapon to step up. And thank God Jake Ferguson didn't tear anything. I don't expect him to miss more than a game. At most 2 games. But with the sprained MCL, I think he could be back this week if we needed him. If we hold back, he'll be back by week 3 against Baltimore. And we need him desperately. But Jalen Tolbert, done with him. I'm done with him until proven otherwise. I bought back in after a good training camp. Just like every single year, he has all the training camp practice clips to get thrown out there. You buy in, you think, oh, maybe this is the year. Okay, Michael Gallup's gone. He'll get more opportunities. No. He shits down his leg on the big stage, does it over and over again. He had an unacceptable holding call where he just held from the beginning, blocking the guy outside the pads, held him from the start. There wasn't a point where he approached him and was not going to hold him. So I guess he can't block, can't rely on him to block, can't rely on him to be consistent as a receiver. I thought he'd have 3-4 receptions. I bet his over on his reception total. I think it was set at 3.5. Screw Jalen Tolbert. I'm tired of it. Jalen Brooks went in, got an 18-yard reception, played Jalen Brooks. Jalen Tolbert doesn't want the big stage. He shits down his leg. He wasn't going to perform. And then maybe he performs against the average to below average teams in the league. When we play the top defenses, that's what he's going to look like. So I'm good on Jalen Tolbert. Good on that experiment. It's not going to work. Start giving guys like Jalen Brooks and Flournoy more opportunities. I don't think that Flournoy got a snap on offense, but I saw him on special teams. Start giving him offensive opportunities because he's more built and stacked up for the NFL. And I think he's got more nads under him than Jalen Tolbert does. Jalen Tolbert, he just doesn't look confident to me when he's out there. The holding, unacceptable. Can't just be a minus football player in the regular season. He's a minus football player. Over Jalen Tolbert experiment. Let's give some other guys some opportunities. But, other than the clock issues with Mike McCarthy, he did a great job. Great job calling plays. The Dak and CD deals show you that we're not cheap, right? I think CD is the second highest non-quarterback contract in the history of the NFL, just behind Justin Jefferson, and Dak is the highest paid player in the history of the NFL at $60 million per year, $240 million guaranteed. Unbelievably rich. And then it also turns out that the Cowboys had a great offseason. They knocked another draft absolutely out of the park. I think we got another cornerstone left tackle in Tyler Guyton. And Tyler Guyton reverted back to a lot of the sloppiness in his technique that he had at Oklahoma. Well, that's because he's playing Myles Garrett, the Defensive Player of the Year, and he got in a dogfight with him, but he held his own. He gave up a sack fumble. He gave up some pressures. But we took Myles Garrett out of the game between the scheme, the play calling, getting the ball out quick, consistently establishing a run game against a very stout and tough run defense in Cleveland. We did what we needed to do. We had an excellent game plan. Take the defensive player's best player out of the game. We did it. We did not let Myles Garrett wreck the football game, which he's absolutely capable of doing against a rookie starting his first game in the NFL. Props to him. He played plenty well enough, and it's only going to get better. And then Cooper Beebe was just excellent, like I predicted. I think we got an all-pro level center in Cooper Beebe, which is going to lead to a dominant running game. Ezekiel Elliott had 10 carries for 40 yards. All that Ezekiel Elliott slander all offseason, kiss my ass. I told you all offseason long, kiss my ass if you slander Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott's a stud. He's still a stud. He's still got the juice. You don't have the eyes and the evaluation talent. If you couldn't see it in the training camp videos, if you couldn't see it in his training videos, that's not a joke. That's not lackadaisical fugazi juice that he has. Let's understand one thing about Ezekiel Elliott. His last season with the Dallas Cowboys, he practically played the entire year with a torn PCL. That's the same injury that has sophomore phenom running back CJ Baxter for the Longhorns out for the year. Zeke didn't get the surgery. He just played with it. He's a tough player, and it slowed him down, of course. He leaves. He goes to one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and the Patriots. They were tanking last season. Total wash. Not even fair to judge him on his Patriots last year. But he looks like the best running back on the team. He's absolutely still an elite pass blocker. He sticks your ass when he blocks you. No linebacker wants to meet Ezekiel Elliott, and nobody wants to get chipped by Ezekiel Elliott because he's not sweet about it. He looks like he's got juice in the legs. He's got the power and the forward lean that no other running back on the roster has. He looked really good. First play of the game, he hurdles Denzel Ward. Gets called back because Jalen Tolbert held. But hurdles Denzel Ward like a prime Zeke. He averaged 4 yards a carry, got a touchdown, had a 9-yard for the long. Rico Dowdle played well, filling in. 8 carries, 26 yards, 3.3 a carry, 10-yard long. CeeDee Lamb had some good jet sweeps. He had 3 carries for 25 yards. He averaged 8.3 to carry. Deuce Vaughn got 1 carry. Deuce Vaughn didn't play a lot offensively in this game, and I think that's just because the matchup. I think we'll have packages for him all year long, and he's going to play very good. But he played good on special teams. On the punt return touchdown, he sprung that punt return. He made the first block and sealed the guy off at the logo around the 50-yard line. He played very good on the punt team. He's going to be good on special teams. He plays on kick return. He might have a few returns this year. Deuce Vaughn, great player. Glad he made the roster. It's another guy that a lot of you were wrong about. All right? If you're going to sit here and you're going to bash guys and you're going to bash the organization, you're going to bash Jerry Jones and clickbait for 6-7 months a year, you clickbait, you fill your TV headlines with how incompetent Jerry Jones is. Let's talk about all the great signings he made this offseason. You know who looks better than Derrick Henry? Eric Kendricks. 9 total tackles, 6 solo. All right? Ezekiel Elliott, in my mind, I think might have a better season than Derrick Henry. Yeah, I just said it. I think Ezekiel Elliott, depending on his carry totals, they're going to spread it around in that backfield. It's going to be running back by committee. But Derrick Henry in that offense, like I told you, and Harbaugh already came back and told you guys in his post-game press conference, they didn't sign him to give him 30 carries a game. And he's a volume running back. He's a guy that gets going with carries and power running schemes. He can even run the outside zone, but the blocking's got to be there because he runs so straightforward. If you get pressure, and it looked like that offensive line was leaky against the Chiefs, if you get pressure, Derrick Henry's going to struggle. If you get to him in the backfield, he ain't breaking off any runs. And if they're not giving him a lot of carries, I don't think you're going to have this monster season from King Henry. Look out for Zeke Elliott to just make a resurgence this year behind Cooper Beebe and 2 all-pro guards, 2 good tackles, a good tight end. Look out for Zeke Elliott and Rico Dowdle in this Cowboys backfield, Deuce Vaughn as well. But I'm just saying, if you're going to bash them all season, you're going to bash them, you're going to make fun of them, you're going to call them incompetent, you're going to call them cheap, you're going to call them that, let's all acknowledge all the good things they did this offseason. Eric Kendricks was great. Their draft was phenomenal. Eric Kendricks had 9 tackles, 6 solos, 2 sacks. 2 sacks at the mic, a tackle for a loss. One of the highest grade players in the league. 2 QB hits. Kalen Carson, the 5th round draft pick, the 5th round corner. Did we just draft another 5th round all-pro at the cornerback position like we did with Deron Bland? I think Kalen Carson, and I don't say this lightly at all, I think Kalen Carson might be the best corner on this team. The Philadelphia Eagles used their first 2 picks on cornerbacks. This guy's better than both of those guys. And I'll tell you that for free right now. Let me show you something.
Watson, quick throw
that
underneath.
Technique, the way he gets out of his T-step, anticipates the route, anticipating the slant. That's film study right there. My internet's being a little slow here. Bear with me. But he anticipates this slant. He gets out of his T-step. He takes a slow step back, gets out, and just triggers downhill to break up this pass to Amari Cooper. He did it all game long. He was one of the best corners in the NFL in his first start against the best route runner arguably in the world in Amari Cooper, who was absolutely motivated to stick it to the Dallas Cowboys, who traded him for a pack of Skittles and sent him out to die in Cleveland. All right? We traded him for some lawn furniture and sent him to die at Lake Erie in Cleveland. He's played great, put up great numbers, but he's with the Cleveland Browns. That's how you send somebody away right there. I know we didn't get as much return as we'd like to, but that's how you do it. You send him to Cleveland. See if this works. I don't think it's going to work again, but you just saw the play. That's the play I'm showing you. He just triggers to the football so quickly. He, I think, was tied for first in the league on PBUs. But there we go. I got his stats right here. 61.5 defensive grade, 6th in the NFL. 60.8 coverage grade, 5th in the NFL. 4 tackles, that was tied for 3rd of all corners. 2 PBUs, tied for 1st. 55.6 QB rating allowed, tied for 3rd best. Absolute gem in the 5th round in Kalen Carson. That was his first game in the league against a very good receiver looking to kill him. And that was playing a lot of man coverage against him, a lot of 2-man, a lot of being locked up with Amari Cooper. Absolutely seatbelting him. Seatbelt Carson, they called him. There's a reason they call him that. I think we got an all-pro in the 5th round for the 2nd time in 3 years. Okay? So this incompetent Jerry Jones, the bad Jerry Jones, the reason the Cowboys can't win a Super Bowl, He has assembled a staff and Will McClay in the scouting department and the coaches that are here, bringing in Mike Zimmer, bringing in an elite coaching staff, top to bottom, from the coordinators to the head coach to the position coaches on this team. Find me a better staff in the league. You can't. There may be one or two that can rival it. There may be one or two that can rival it. You know, you got Andy Reid and Spagnuolo combination out there, and with the Chiefs, that's very good. Outside of that, who is touching Mike McCarthy as a play caller, Mike Zimmer as a defense coordinator right now? I don't know anybody. As the players said on defense, they got 50 packages on defense this year ready to deploy. They ran 3 against the Browns. All right, Kalen Carson's was an absolute stud. DeMarvion, the missile Overshown from Arp, Texas. Shout out to DeMarvion Overshown, bro. DeMarvion Overshown deserves all the credit and more. He's a fan favorite as it is, and I don't think half of you guys even understand the story of DeMarvion Overshown. When you want to talk about coming from absolutely nothing, and I know a lot of these players in the league do, a lot of pro athletes do, he came from absolutely nothing. Arp, Texas. Now he's a Dallas Cowboy. He's an absolute missile. Did the Cowboys find a Fred Warner in him? Let's watch this play. Hopefully it loads fast for you guys. Where's DeMarvion? He's right here. 13. Watch him spying to Deshaun Watson. No, sir. All game long. And that wasn't even the big one. That wasn't even the biggest one. Spies him all game long. Look at this. I don't even know who's wearing 41. I was trying to figure that out all game. Look at him. He's going to be an elite spy. You seeing this, Jalen Hurts? No, sirree. All game long when he left the pocket, he couldn't get comfortable. DeMarvion's going to hunt your ass down like prey and light your world on fire. Look at him. Absolute missile. Gets off a block, shrugs that off. Too fast for Deshaun Watson to get outside the pocket. He's going to be too fast for Jalen Hurts to get out of the pocket. Hell, we play the Ravens in 2 weeks. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson ran a lot against the Chiefs. Took a lot of hits against the Chiefs. He is not going to want to do that against us. I'll tell you that for free. He's not going to want to lower his shoulder on DeMarvion Overshown, on Donovan Wilson, the kamikaze. Micah Parsons chasing his ass down just as fast as Lamar Jackson. DeMarvion looks like he's like a 4-4 guy. He plays like a 4-3. He plays like the fastest player on the field. Here's some Eric Kendricks action. Let's watch this clip. Eric Kendricks coming in on the blitz, interception. Oh, yeah, that was the Micah Parsons play here. Yeah, this is a great scheme right here. Great scheme. So Mike Zimmer on this situation here is given the right tackle a no-win situation. He blitzes it. He blitz Eric Kendricks over here. And the right tackle, there's one too many guys to block. He's going to have to choose to block and give up a free rush with Micah Parsons or Eric Kendricks. I think he chooses to block Eric Kendricks here. Yep, slides in on Eric Kendricks, and then the instinctual smart player that Micah Parsons is gets in the passing lane as a free rusher. What am I doing? My bad. I'm fucking this up. Not even showing you guys the play. Let me show you the play. My bad, guys. Gotta get my shit dialed. Eric Kendricks right here at the mic. He's going to blitz. The right tackle has an option. You give up a free rush with Micah Parsons or you give up a free rush with Eric Kendricks. He decides to take the inside rush and block Eric Kendricks here. Micah Parsons comes on the free rush. The instincts here to stop in the passing lane, get up, swat the ball in the air. Eric Kendricks spins around, finds the ball, gets the interception. This is instinctual linebacker play from both guys. This defense and the instincts on this team is unbelievable. We have not had linebacker play like this since I was a little kid, since Brady James was here maybe, since Sean Lee, but Sean Lee never played, okay? Leighton Vander Esch was never this instinctual, could never pull this play off, was not that athletic either. This is great schematics and great instincts. Show it again. I could watch this 30 times over. Look at this. Free rush, stop in the passing lane, get up, be an athlete. Eric Kendricks finds the football. We get the ball back. I told you before the season started this would be a top 3 defense in the NFL. I meant it when I said it. This is unbelievable. Mike Zimmer is in heaven with this secondary and this defense. It looks like we addressed the interior defensive line in the offseason. We addressed it in the draft. We addressed it with the signings of Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips. Jordan Phillips made a big play. I don't even know if Linval played. Let me pull up the box score here. Let's look at some stats here defensively. Linval didn't enter the stat sheet. Jordan Phillips did. Jordan Phillips had a QB hit, lit the shit out of Deshaun Watson. DeMarvion Overshown had 11 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Spying Deshaun Watson, being everywhere on the field at all times. He plays with his head on fire. He plays fast and he plays violent. Our linebackers are fast and they're violent. Our safeties are fast and they're violent. Our defensive line is fast and violent. That's how you play defense. You play it fast and physical. You run and you hit. You take care of that, the rest takes care of itself. You stay sound. Our secondary, our corners are elite, and we're missing an all-pro right now, and you can't even tell. You can sit there in the dark all you want as a Dallas Cowboys hater right now. You can tell me till you're blue in the face, let's wait till January. I don't give a shit. Shove that up your ass. I heard we were going to miss the playoffs. I heard the Eagles would dominate us. Let me tell you something right now. Clip it. Do whatever you want. The Eagles cannot match up with this team. The Eagles cannot. They already showed offensive line issues, losing Jason Kelce in week 1. I'm telling you, we will get after Philly. We will spy Jalen Hurts. He's going to do what he did last week. He's going to do what he's done for the last 2 years. He's going to bail when his first read's not there. We'll take his first read away consistently. We'll take his second read consistently. He'll bail from the pocket, and DeMarvion Overshown is going to be up his ass for 4 quarters until he quits. That's what that's going to look like twice this year. We will dominate the Eagles. Listen, I'll get into that game. Saquon Barkley, everybody's up his ass. He scored 3 touchdowns. They played on the worst field of all time. No defenders could set their feet, break down, and make a tackle. It played in the Saquon Barkley's game. Listen, you can say what you want. Call me a hater. Let's wait and see. Let's see what happens when the run blocking's not there for Saquon. All right, let's see what happens when they're playing on a field where defenses are able to break down and tackle his ass. I'm not saying he's not going to be bad, but I don't think Saquon Barkley's about to have this all-pro MVP season out of the backfield that everybody wants to force down our throats right now. They played on a terrible football field in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where nobody could tackle into the open field. Nobody could break down and make a tackle. The defenders were sliding all over the field all game long. The Eagles got a lot of breaks from the officiating, especially at the end of the game where the Green Bay Packers made stops to get them off the field and literally were just given first downs on bad penalties. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. The Cowboys look great. The Cowboys look like they are Super Bowl contenders. They're NFC contenders. The Niners look good as well. I'll touch on them when we go through the review. Let's get into that right now. 30 minutes into the show. Let's get into it. But last but not least, the rookies, from Kalen Carson to the offensive lineman to even, let me see, let's see, who else played? Well, DeMarvion Overshown's still a rookie, really. He didn't play a single game his rookie season. He got hurt. But really, our rookies looked great. We looked like we had another phenomenal draft. Our defense looks great. We look top to bottom good. We're great in all 3 phases. The only thing on special teams, the punt team gave up some big returns. Didn't really love that. But we had a punt return touchdown. We were good in the return game. We were great on kickoff. Brandon Aubrey's an absolute weapon. Best kicker in the NFL by far. He has surpassed Justin Tucker. And he's the best kicker. He's a weapon. Not only with the field goal bombs, but he was a weapon on that kickoff. Blasting line drives into the kick returner. Just a stud. Let's move forward. Week 1 review. Let's go to the Eagles-Packers game since I was just talking about it. Let me pull up the box scores for you. Jordan Love got hurt on damn near the last play of the game. I think it was an MCL sprain. He's going to miss some time. 17 to 34, 260 yards, 7.6 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns, a terrible interception. And he got sacked 5 times. Let me see. Jaden Reed had 4 receptions for 138 yards, 34 yards per reception, a touchdown. That Philly secondary is still going to be Swiss cheese. I'm going to break that to y'all right now. Still a Swiss cheese-ass secondary, but to their defense, like I was talking about Saquon Barkley, the field was so fucking bad, dude. Like, as soon as Jaden Reed caught a ball, he was scoring a touchdown because nobody could tackle anybody, couldn't plant their feet. The receivers and running backs just had a great advantage against the defense because nobody could get any traction and they didn't change their cleats, didn't wear long cleats. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. The NFL can go kiss my ass with these overseas games, out of the country games for these money grabs. That was a disaster start to finish in Brazil, and they know it. Stop doing it. Jalen Hurts is 20 of 34 for 278, 8.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 2 terrible interceptions. Could have been 5, 6, 7 interceptions. Let's not shit ourselves here. That second interception in the red zone, throwing it across the middle of the field into the end zone, almost throwing the game away before Jordan Love just turned around and threw the game away. He almost turned it over the play before that. It's not just the interceptions. It's how often and how many interceptions there could be with Jalen Hurts. All right, like his decision making is poor. He is not reading a defense. He is babied by his coordinator still to this day, which is Kellen Moore. He's reading one side of the field. They're trying to use the screen game a lot. They're trying to get the ball out quick for him. They're trying to make it confusing and bust coverages on the defense instead of Jalen Hurts just making the right decision, getting you into the right place. He isn't doing anything pre-snap. All right, he hasn't advanced at all in that level. As the Philadelphia season goes on, I don't know if it'll start this week against the Falcons, but when they got a tough schedule just like the Cowboys do, let me look through it. They got to play the Browns. They got to play the Buccaneers again in 2 weeks, which they're going to lose again. It's going to look just like it did in the playoffs. They'll get exposed again. The Buccaneers will be able to protect and block against that Philly interior. The Philadelphia edge rushers are nothing to write home about. Their secondary is Swiss cheese. They're not going to be able to handle Evans and Godwin. Baker Mayfield's playing at a very high level right now. Seems like they found a guy that could execute that offense. And look, man, shout out to Baker Mayfield. Give him his props. If you surround him with the right guys, you can protect him. He can win you a lot of football games. I had the Falcons as my favorite to win that division. After week 1, it's the Bucs. You know, the Commies are still figuring it out with Jaden Daniels. They got a new coach. They got a lot going on. I don't think that they're world beaters. I had them having a good season. I'm not so sure. But the Buccaneers are a good football team. All right, they got them in 2 weeks. They got the Browns. They got the Cowboys twice, of course. They got the Steelers. They got the Ravens. And for whatever reason, they don't play the 49ers, but we do every single year. Oh, that's right. We have a first-place schedule. Oh, that's right. We won the division last year, not Philly. It's easy to forget that if you watch any TV and you watch any sports shows. We won the division. Saquon had 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, 1 receiving. How many receiving yards did he have? 2 receptions, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Listen, they couldn't tackle him in the open field. When he got beyond the line of scrimmage, it was trouble. And at the end of the game, he really started to break off runs. Before that, he really wasn't doing shit. His 2 touchdowns weren't that long. He had a 34-yard rush at the end of the game that boosted him over his rushing total and over 100 yards rushing in general. Jalen Hurts had 13 carries for 33 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. Jalen Hurts is not a threat running the ball to a good defense. Hate to break that to you. You guys want to act like he's one of the all-time great rushers. He's not as a quarterback. He's not. He's a QB sneak merchant, and that doesn't look as good as it used to, does it? They had a fumble. They got stuffed once. I think they had a penalty on one. Yeah, when you don't have the greatest center of all time, it's not going to be as easy on that tush-push bullshit. All right? And let me tell you something else. I'm so tired of the announcers gagging Jalen Hurts after that, talking about how much he squats. They literally lift his leg off the ground and push him. His legs are off the ground when he gets those QB sneaks, and they push him forward. Has nothing to do with his squat. But I digress. The Packers are in trouble. Malik Willis is not good. Jordan Love is going to miss some time. They looked bad defensively. Everybody talks about the Cowboys game a year ago, and I get it. Dak Prescott had one of the worst games of his career against Green Bay in that playoff game. That's what it is. I've addressed that many times, and I'll say that over and over again. I'm not afraid to call out Dak on his bad performances as a Cowboys fan. But our defense can't even be looked at the same way. All right? We were playing a backup strong safety and had no interior defensive lineman in that game. We had no linebackers and no real nose tackle. So they just ran the ball at will for like 9 yards a carry on us. We couldn't stop the run start to finish. We only got 1 stop the entire game. That would not be the case if we played the Packers to start the year this year. In fact, I think we would slap the Packers around this time because Jordan Love struggles when he doesn't have a run game, just like most quarterbacks do. But he struggles without a run game. You're not rushing for 9 yards of carry on us. It wouldn't look the same way that he did. Those play action passes that he had against the Cowboys with players just screaming wide the fuck open would not be there. Right. Anyways, Eagles still 1-0. Got to feel good about it. They got the Falcons on Monday night this week. We'll see. Let's do a quick review of the rest of the games that went on. Show you some other things, a few other clips. Look at this.
For you as much as you would have expected?
I mean, I don't know really what was going on back there, but I'm getting out my routes and I'm just trying to make a play, trying to find him, trying to make a better throw for him to make. So I mean, I was just doing my job. I mean, that's all I can do.
Did you feel that?
Oh, the Giants are a disaster. That's what an incompetent organization looks like. Malik Neighbors, 1 game into his NFL career, sick and tired of Daniel Jones, just like the rest of the state of New Jersey is. All right? They paid one of the worst starting quarterbacks I've ever seen with these eyes, $54 million a year, or whatever it is, $50 million a year. Their offensive line is atrocious to his defense. He doesn't have a chance. He gets hit more than any quarterback in the league. The guy's going to be totally traumatized and have PTSD the rest of his life, but at least he's rich. The Giants are terrible. Here's another clip.
Did you know Jamar was going to play?
I mean, I can't really answer that.
Was he limited at all because of the illness?
He played a lot. He played a lot. I mean, we managed. We took him out on some stuff just because the expectation of not practicing. So there were some things we took him out on. But
the expectation of not practicing. That's Cincinnati Bengals coach Zach Taylor talking about when he found out Jamar Chase would decide to play. And he really didn't find out till like 5 minutes before kickoff, from what I heard. But he said, I can't really answer that. And he mentioned how Jamar didn't practice, so it's hard to game plan with the guy that's not practicing, right? So the Dallas Cowboys, I heard for 6-7 months how bad we were organizationally with the CeeDee Lamb holdout, with the Dak Prescott situation, with everything else. Well, both of those guys are signed and happy to be Dallas Cowboys. I just showed you 2 clips, one with the division team and the Giants, who are an absolute disaster, may have the first pick in the NFL draft. Don't have anything to look forward right now. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for them, other than the fact that they maybe get like Quinn Ewers, which would make me sick as fuck. But that's neither here nor there right now. That's a terrible organization. The Bengals look terrible. They lost to the Patriots, which is expected to be one of the worst rosters in football this year. They lost. They look bad. The Jamar Chase issue and holdout is ridiculous. He's already signed his second deal. He's holding out. Where is all the media coverage on that? Right? He held his team hostage, didn't practice leading up to the game, went to the practices, just hung around the facilities, held them hostage up until kickoff, basically, before he decided to play because there's a contract dispute over him wanting more money on a contract he's already agreed to. Here's what he had to say.
I felt ready enough.
What's running through your mind after a game like that?
Just wish we had more opportunities to make plays.
In 10 points, what did you feel like was the reason you guys weren't able to do more on offense?
It's obvious, just turnovers, and we gotta get first downs and move the ball.
It didn't look like you were targeted much down the field. Is that an indication of you just not being in training camp and able to get that in the game plan, or you weren't able to, or was that just?
I don't know. You gotta ask Zach on that. I don't know.
I don't gotta ask Zach. I can tell you why. Because you didn't practice or let the team know that you were gonna play until like 5 minutes before kickoff. That doesn't work in any job in America. All right? You don't get to hold your entire company and your entire team hostage because of you want more money and then show up 5 minutes before game time, 5 minutes before go time, and whatever the proverbial comparison of that would be. And then be like, oh, I don't know why they didn't use me. I don't know why I wasn't really part of the plan. Because you didn't practice, they didn't know if you were even going to play. And how the hell do they even let him play? How does he get a pass? How is he in the game plan? How does he start? Do you have no balls at all? Why is he not on the trading block? Can we call a spade on multiple things in this situation? One, the holdouts are ridiculous at this point. everybody and their mom's holding out. That does not work out. 9 times out of 10, the holdout hurts the player more than it's going to hurt the organization. If I was the Cincinnati Bengals, I would have traded him to the Raiders last week. If you think the grass is greener, you want to go make more money with the Raiders. Go make more money with the Giants. Go do that. They're taking receivers. They don't care about their terrible offensive line and their terrible roster. They'll take receivers and pay you too much money. Go get more money over there. You agreed to this deal years ago. This is where it's at. And the other thing that we need to call Jamar Chase out about is he's not the best receiver in the league. He's not the second best receiver in the league. He's not the third best. He's not the fourth best. I don't know that he's the fifth best. Let's stop with this conversation of Jamar being the best. He's not. He ain't CeeDee Lamb. He ain't close. He ain't Justin Jefferson. He ain't close. He ain't Tyreek Hill. He ain't Devontae Adams. Hell, I don't know that he's Jalen Waddle. I don't even know that that'd be my fifth guy. I'm just throwing out guys right now. He's not Deebo Samuel. He's not Cooper Kupp. He's not Puka Nacua. He doesn't produce that consistently anymore, and he's holding out doing this bullshit. Oh, I don't know. You got to ask the coaches why it wasn't used. Because you didn't practice or tell them that you were going to play until at least an hour before kickoff. How the hell can you game plan like that? Zach Taylor, I mean, just look at his face in this, dude. Look at the guy. You want to look at defeated? You want to look at a coach that is just being held hostage to an organization
Point
that's
did you know
incompetent?
Jamar was wanted, bud?
By a
I mean,
broke
that's-
organization?
I
Look at
can't
his
really answer
face.
Was
Look
he
at his
limited
face.
at all because of the
He
illness?
didn't want to play
played a
Jamar
lot.
Chase.
He played a lot. I mean, we managed. We
He didn't want to play a guy that's not showing up to practice. That's not showing up to scout and report. That's not there for his team. What about that aspect? What about being a good teammate? Is that dead? Is being there for your team just a dead art? Being a good employee? They are employees. They're really rich employees. Okay? Player first, all this shit that we throw out there, they are employees. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's wrap this up. Who else? Texans, Colts. That was a great game. CJ Stroud's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I feel like that's a game the Colts threw away. And then the Texans look like a well-coached team that knew how to finish. They started feeding Joe Mixon at the end of that game. He had 30 carries for 159 yards. Anthony Richardson threw the game away. CJ Stroud closed it out. Neither here nor there, though. Anthony Richardson looked very good. I shouldn't say neither here nor there. Anthony Richardson looked very good other than the decision-making, the turnovers. He missed a touchdown pass and then threw an interception. That's basically the difference in the game. That's why they lost. But he just needs reps. His timing, his execution will improve with reps. And he has too many freaky-ass skills to be a bad football player. Anthony Richardson, I think, will be very good as long as he stays healthy and he doesn't try to lower his shoulder on too many linebackers. But that division might be salty. The Colts actually looked like a very good football team because I think the Texans are very good. Like I just said, the Patriots upset the Bengals, maybe the upset of the week. The Panthers look terrible. They are in trouble with Bryce Young. They're in a lot of trouble. They lost 47-10 to the Saints, who the Cowboys got at home this week. The Commies lost. What is he? The Giants lost too, right? The Giants lost 28-6. So the Eagles and the Cowboys are back on top of the NFC East after 1 week. The Lions-Rams game was very good on Sunday night. 26-20 overtime win for the Lions. Stafford had 317, a touchdown and an interception. This is a game that I think the Rams win if they don't have the injuries. All right? They got an offensive lineman injured, and Puka Nacua goes down in that game as well. Once that happened, Stafford entered a mindset that he had to enter, and he had to start getting the ball out really quickly and not wasting any time, which led to some throws that he probably otherwise would not make because he just knew he wasn't going to have the protection. And if they don't get their offensive line healthy and keep it healthy this year, then that sucks. My prediction on them to push for the division will not come to pass because the Niners are really, really good, fast, and physical once again, and they're not going anywhere, according to last night's game. I hate that team so much. They showed up without Christian McCaffrey against the Jets that want to push for an AFC championship game this year. Rodgers' first game back coming off the Achilles. I am not going to write a team off after week 1. I think they'll be good in the AFC, but they'll never beat this Niners team. I mean, Fred Warner gives me nightmares at night. The guy flies around and just kills everybody and everything that he sees. Brock Purdy, he's average, but that's all they need. He executes the offense. He can process really fast. And as long as they're rushing the way they ran the ball, Jordan Mason in his first career start had 28 carries for 147 yards and a touchdown. Undrafted out of Georgia Tech. The Shanahans do it again with the late round or undrafted running back. That scheme is plug and play. Christian McCaffrey goes down. Doesn't matter. Put Jordan Mason in, 147 in a tutty. First game. I mean, God, the Niners are good. So, yeah, I don't know that they're getting overthrown this year. But if the Rams can get healthy, Stafford looks really good. I mean, he's got 4 or 5 years left. He's still just missling that thing. He spins that bitch like no other. He's 34-49, 317, 6.5 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown interception. Jared Goff was 18 of 28, 217. It's Jared Goff game. Montgomery had 17 carries for 91 yards. This defense can go as far as its pass rush can take it. I think the secondary is still going to struggle. They addressed it in the offseason. Terry and Arnold, their first-round draft pick, he's going to get picked on by the best receivers in the league the way he did at Alabama. I think he's a good corner. I think he plays hard, he plays well, but he can be beat a lot by the better receivers, and I think you're going to see him get picked on. Not trying to pick on the guy, but I think that's going to happen a lot this year. Cowboys got a guy better than him in the 5th round. I digress. Let's move on to week 2 and do a little week 2 preview. And player-wise, I think that this could end up being a Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes race to the MVP this year. The Chiefs are primed for another Super Bowl run. They beat the Ravens in the first game of the year on Thursday night. That was a good game. Came down to the wire. Lamar and the Ravens had a touchdown at the end of the game where they were just a half a shoe size smaller away from maybe winning that game, going for a 2-point conversion to win it at the end of the game. They didn't. They lost. It's a game of inches. But the Chiefs with Xavier Worthy, let me tell you something. Xavier Worthy's going to win the Rookie of the Year, and that's an absolute cheat code in that offense with Mahomes and Andy Reid dialing it up. The Chiefs are primed and ready to make a run at the first three-peat in NFL history. Will they do it? I don't know. Still very, very hard, but they're going to get close at the very least. Let's go into week 2. Week 2 matchups starting on Thursday night. Bills-Dolphins division game. That may be the race for the division right there between the Bills and the Dolphins. The Dolphins looked good against the Jaguars. Tua had 338 yards and a touchdown. The Bills looked good beating the Cardinals at one point in that game. It looked like the Cardinals had control, and then they lost it, I suppose. I turned my head, and the Bills were winning the game. James Cook had 19 carries for 71 yards. I think that Josh Allen led the league in QBR. That's going to be a fun game on Thursday night on Amazon Prime. I think the Bills can win this game. Let's see. I think the Dolphins can win this game. Let's see what the spread is. Dolphins -1.5, so it's at Hard Rock. This is a game you definitely want to win. When do they play again? They play later in the year, but early November, it looks like. So that's not going to be the worst time of the year to go to Buffalo. Still probably going to be pretty cold, but that's not like playing December in Buffalo. But you always want to win that home game if you're a division rival against Buffalo. You don't want to get a late one against them in the frigid temperatures of Buffalo, upstate New York. But I think the Bills can win this game. They're -1.5. It's basically a pick 'em. They're just giving them a 1.5. It's the home team. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are a better team, I think. I think the Dolphins are primed to win this division. I think they should have won it last year, and they gave it away. And I think that this is a little revenge game for them, coming off of last year's losses that threw away the division. See the game cast. Here's some comparisons here. The Bills got 3 questionable players, 2 defensive end, and Ty Johnson, the running back. The Dolphins got 5 guys. Jalen Ramsey's questionable. A-Chain is questionable. Mosert's questionable. Jalen Phillips is questionable. Malik Washington is questionable. The over-under the point total is set at 48.5. The Buffalo Bills money line is +105. The Dolphins -125. And I don't know. I'm going to pick the Dolphins in this game. Let's look at some other games. Saints, Cowboys. This game is going to be another Cowboys domination. Don't let it fool you. Don't let the Saints' dominance over the bad Panthers last week's fool you. These rosters aren't even close to each other. Spread is opening up at Dallas -6.5. Over under total at 45.5. I think Dallas might score 40 themselves in this game. The offensive line is going to be able to handle the Saints' defensive line. And the Saints, who usually have a good defense this year. I think the Cowboys will be on the field a lot, get a lot of 3-and-outs, get some turnovers, get after Derek Carr in that Saints offense, and show you that the Saints are what we think they're going to be this year. Probably average at best. They're a team that's in cap hell. They're a team with the quarterback situation. Derek Carr had 200 yards for 3 touchdowns early in the game, got off to a very hot start. They're obviously in a big lead. They coast to the finish, so maybe that's a big reason his numbers didn't spike to over 250 or 300 yards, and yet this isn't the Carolina Panthers. You're coming to Dallas and playing what I think is a top 3 defense in the NFL. So I think the Cowboys will smother the Saints. They'll be very fast. They'll create turnovers. They'll hit Derek Carr early and often, and they will easily cover the number at -6.5. Bucks Lions, that's a great game. They got the Lions at a -7 jumping out. I'm going to take the Bucks +7. I can tell you that right now. I haven't done my pick'em show yet, but Bucks +7 is a great pick. The Lions are getting a little bit too glazed right now, okay? They make the playoffs one time. They got a good offensive line. They do some splashy things in the offseason. They're a fan favorite team right now. You know, they're an easy team to love because they've sucked forever. Yeah, they're giving them too much credit. 7 points is way too much against a Bucks team that finished the season strong last year and started the season hot this year. Baker Mayfield had 289 and 4 touchdowns, so they're dialed offensively. And like I said, I don't think the Lions' secondary is something to write home about. It may be improved from a year ago when it was bad, but let's wait and see how much it's improved. The point total is set at 51.5, so they're expecting a lot of points in this game. That's a lot in the NFL. I think the Bucks +7 and the Bucks money line, sprinkle it. Sprinkle it. The Bucks can win this game. The money line's at +270. That's a winnable game for the Buccaneers. All right. Colts Packers. Jordan Love out. That's a game the Colts got to win. The Jets Titans. Can they shake back after getting beat up by the Niners last night? I think so. Will Levis and the Titans going to start off 0-2 in my opinion. I think Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, that's a good get-right game, get back. The Titans, I don't think will be a very good team this year. I don't think they'll compete for a playoff spot. I don't think they'll do much. They might have a top 10 pick, top 15 pick in the NFL draft. The Niners play the Vikings. That should be just an ass stomping. Seattle Patriots, Giants, Commies division matchup in week 2. That's a good game for Jaden Daniels in week 2 of his NFL career. He had 16 carries for 88 yards last week. How many passing yards did he have? 184 passing yards. Not bad. He ended up coming on strong at the end of the game. Out of all the rookie quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels might have looked the best, quite frankly. They all looked bad. Caleb Williams looked really, really bad week 1. I don't know what Bo Nix did, but I don't expect him to really do anything all year long. Let's look at the game cast of the Broncos Steelers. Bo Nix had 8 carries for 35 yards. He was 26 of 42 for 138, 2 interceptions. Yeah, Bo Nix sucks. Sorry to break that to you. Call him no Bix. He's not going to be the next Drew Brees. Ravens play the Raiders. They should get back and bounce back after playing the Chiefs. Go into the Cowboys game next week, 1-1. The Bears, Texans, C.J. Stroud versus Caleb Williams. Can Caleb Williams do better against the Texans than he did last week? The Bears are 1-0. Their defense played very good. Can they play good against that Houston Texans offense? C.J. Stroud is really good. He's going to be the best quarterback in the NFL one day. He's top 3 right now. He's top 3 right now. I mean, C.J. Stroud is really good. I hate saying that. I don't want the Texans to do good. But C.J. Stroud's really good. Let's see. What other games we got? Well, that's about a week 2 preview real quick for you. Monday night, Eagles, Falcons. How does this game go? Can Kirk Cousins bounce back from a sloppy performance against that Pittsburgh defense? He was, 16 of 26 for 155, a touchdown, 2 INTs. Jalen Hurts, 20 of 34, 278, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Like I said, it could have been 4 or 5. Some of those yards are fugazi, but I digress. Jalen Hurts will get exposed week by week. The Falcons defense didn't play bad against the Steelers, but the Steelers are very conservative with Justin Fields starting. They just played. They took care of the football. They established the run. They didn't do too much, and they didn't give it away. They won the game doing so as the Falcons threw the game away. I did like what the Falcons were doing schematically on offense. They were feeding Bijan Robinson a lot, and I think if they do that on Monday night, they will have a lot of success. That Eagles defense ain't shit. It ain't shit. Nakobe Dean is not anything anybody's scared of at the mic. Jalen Carter is an animal. He's dirty, but he's an animal. And he is going to give Kirk Cousins a lot of problems. I wonder how long the leash will be for Kirk Cousins. If Jalen Carter starts fucking up their shit on Monday night and Kirk Cousins is struggling through next week or by week 5, do they give Penix a chance? I would love to see Penix with these weapons. And, I mean, how long do you wait on the guy? You drafted him in the first round. I know you paid Kirk Cousins, and that's crazy. I don't know why you did it if you were willing to draft a quarterback in the first round, but you did. How long before you see Penix action? Can Cousins stay healthy? I don't know. But I think this will be a more competitive game than it's set at. The Eagles are set at -6.5. Again, 6.5 to 7 points is a lot in the NFL. The Falcons lost to the Steelers week 1. The over-under set at 47.5. Even odds on that. +6.5 with Atlanta. I hate the Eagles. The Atlanta defense played good. It should be solid under Raheem Morris. And Raheem Morris, their new head coach, should be solid. Always a great defensive coordinator. Always a sound defense. They got guys on that defense. They got guys on the defensive line. They got guys in the secondary. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. All right? Take his first read away. Don't let him run around on you. He's going to struggle. Stop Saquon Barkley, contain him, keep him in the backfield. Don't let him break open. Don't let him get in the open field too much. You got to deal with BBL AJ Brown. But you got weapons too. You got Ray McLeod. You got Bijan Robinson, who I think is the best running back in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is going to be all right. Kyle Pitts, he was getting open. I don't think this Eagles defense is as good as the Steelers. So I'll take Atlanta +6.5 on that game. Yeah, that's my week 1 review. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Send it to your friends if you enjoy the program. I went for an hour today. I love you guys more than you know. Not as much as you think. I will be back for a college show, and I'll be back for the Shonee, the money picks of the week. The Cowboys look great. We look like we're in a great position to chase for a Super Bowl, to defend a division crown. I think we're by far one of the best teams in the league, top 4 teams in the NFL right now, the best team in the NFC East. You can count on it. Mark my words, put money on it, clip my clips. But that's it. That was this episode. That was the Pro Show. Love you more than you know. Not as much as you think. Have a great week. I'll see you guys tomorrow.